Hey there, welcome back to episode 3 of Umineko, finally on Blind. Last time we played our first little bits of blind content, and we're introduced to the Legend of the Gold. Now we continue back to the parents, and probably some more not so fun talk about the fortune. Everyone was accusing Krauss last time we saw them of embezzling money from Kinzo to use for his own financial ventures. Natsuhi defended him and ran off, and I assume we're going to pick up right from where we left off there. So let's see what is going on. Krauss says it's ridiculous. Also, this music is not happy. Very intense music. Not intense, but like almost disturbing. Like, listen to that sound. Jesus. Okay. Oh, we're not getting back to Krauss. I thought Krauss was gonna. I thought we were picking up right where we left off, and Krauss was saying, "Ridiculous! I have been using grandfather's money." Now we're continuing with the Legend of the Gold. But you do believe in the gold itself. Ah, there we get there. Get the word right out of my mouth. Has it? Marusu. Okay. So Grandpa Kinzo is not the only one who has seen it. 10 tons. I like how we're continuing, like, we had the kids talking about the Legend of the Gold in a very, like, childlike manner, like, innocently, like, oh, it's a tale, it's neat. Maria's like, yeah, it's real, and everyone else is like, oh, could it be real? And then we get to, like, the parents, and they're just instantly, like, super serious mode, like, of course it's real. This is something we need to find now. We just instantly get to this, like, really serious talk about something that was just such a light conversation before. If it's on the island, that'll be cool. Who's gonna find it first? Does Kinzo still say if one of his kids find it, they'll take it? Oh, he actually got to examine one of the bars. Yeah, I was gonna say something. If it was literally, magically conjured by a witch, it's probably some damn pure gold. All the gold was printed with the crest. Ushiromiyaの黄金伝説は瞬く間に財界のフィクサーたちの間に広がったわ。So it's not just a family legend. People, like a lot of people in the business world know about it. So a lot of people in the business world believe the story. Krauss is not buying it, or he's pretending to not buy it, because he wants it for himself. I bet it's here somewhere. Like, I bet it's not off in the forest somewhere. I bet it's, like, I don't know, below the mansion or something. It's gotta be like really close.
でもよ兄貴、親父が調達した莫大な金はそれに見合う担保が必要だった。仮に黄金がデマでも、それに匹敵する価値あるお宝を親父が見せたのは紛れもない事実じゃねえのかい。都市空間の親父殿が作った黄金元素さ。
Well,
ありもしない黄金を
he might have been penniless, but
スポンサーたちを騙したんだ。一世一代の大博打だったのだろう。運よくその資産の運用に
thinks it was all a lie, just like to fool everyone into thinking he had the collateral to pay back a loan, so they let him take out loans. But how did he fool the whatever his name was? They said that he let him take and examine a bar and see the whole pile and everything.
じゃあクラウス兄さんは黄金など最初から存在せず、
That is what he's saying.
もちろんさ。だから十分な成功を収めた後には黄金元素など面倒なだけだった。だから
I don't believe it. I don't buy it.
魔女だの黒魔術だのとわけのわからないことを後に言い
No.
出して信憑性を薄めたの。
Krauss, you are wrong.
黄金元素がでっち上げであることを明かした魔女に黄金を授かったなどと言えば、もはや誰も黄金の存在を信じたりはしまい、あるいはお前たちのために言い出したのかもしれん。なのにありもしない黄金を遺産分配に含めて議論しようというバカな息子たちがどうまさかお前も
Oh, does Rosa believe in it? Well, Rosa has very much been on the side of Rudolph and Eva so far, kind of ganging up on Krauss. Well, it seemed like Rosa was kind of influenced by, but she's taken the neutral ground here. She's like, I can't say for sure either way. She doesn't want to upset any of the siblings. It's like, I don't know if it exists, but if it does, quarter of that shit is mine. ほう。
ローザも男になったじゃないか。なるほど。お前たちはこう言いたいわけかね。私が黄金を独り占めしようとしていると。
兄さんが莫大な軍資金を調達したのは事実。
Ooh, do they believe he's already found it and that's what he used to create the resort slash guest house? So they're saying if you haven't been taking his funds, then where else did the money come from? The pile of gold. Interesting. I hadn't really considered that Krauss was just lying about it and that he knows it exists and he's been using it. Wasn't the game that if you found it, it's yours? Wasn't that grandfather's, like, whole thing?
じゃあ説明なさいよ。お父様の財産の横領、お父様の隠し黄金。
Yeah, where did the money come from? This or that? Either way, you're in trouble.
どうやってあれだけの軍資金を調達できたっていうの？
私にも政界財界に友人が多くいてね。彼らから協力を得
I
た
just
だ
have
け
buddies
に
who
それについてお前たちに説明する義務はない。分かって
I don't know.
話せぬ方面の筋もある。
He might be telling the truth about this. Like, as far as not having stolen the embezzlement. Not having embezzled or found the gold, but
兄貴がそうだと言い張るんならそれでいいさ。
not really sure yet.
でもよ兄貴。親父は長くない。来年の今日まで生きてるなんて誰にも保証で。親父が死ねばその時点で遺産相続だ。俺たちは全員の立場から中立な弁護士と会計士を立てて親父の財政状況を調査させるぜ。
その時、お父様の資産に兄さんが不当な干渉をしていることが発覚した。
They're just giving him a warning, like, if you did some bullshit, You ain't getting
何の
nothing from
話だか
this.
さっぱりわからん。妻でなくても憤慨したい気持ちだ。
As indignant as my wife was.
お父さんの黄
Man,
金
no
は
one is on
もちろん
Natsuhi's
お
side.
父さんの財
Feel
産
really bad for her.
表に出せん金やっちゅうのも分かっとる。しかし4人に公平な権利があるはずや。
つまり兄貴が黄金を独り占めしていないかどうか、兄貴についても財務状況を調査させてもらうぜってことなのさ。
いい機会じゃない。
I don't think the money is for everyone. I think the gold is Beatrice's, and she, allowed Kinzo to use it, but I don't think it just is going to be able to go to whoever finds it, or anyone can use it freely. I don't think it's going to work like that.
兄さんの言うところの友人知人にバックアップしてもらったというところを証明なさいよ。私たちはくだらない疑いを持ってしまったことを潔く謝れるわ。
Ava is so fucking smug. Jesus Christ.
ねえローザ。
She is so like... She's got that smug ass confident look on her face.
そうね。クラウス兄さんこそ話をはぐらかしてるわ。
Rosa seems very, like I said a minute ago, very influenced by Rudolph and Ava, like almost like they're just using Rosa to help gang up on Krauss more.
やましいところがないというなら証明してくれればいいだけの話なのに、兄さんはまる。
だがまあ兄貴の立場にも配慮するさ。親父の名代ということで俺たちより一つ多く責任を背負ってるところもあるだろう。今まで散々気楽に過ごしてきた俺たちがそれを察しないでブーブー言うのはこりゃフェアな話じゃないぜ。
Mm-hmm.
ほう。さっきから落とされたり持ち上げられたりと忙しい。本題に入りたまえ。
Little both. Yeah, what?
つまりな。お父さんの
How come Krauss isn't just saying where the money
重
came
箱
from?
の隅をつっつくんは。
Is he at fault here? How come he's not just saying, oh, it was this person, here, let me show you. Like, what's the holdup?
クラウス兄さんの言う通り、うまく説明できん金の動きもあるやろ。そこを理解した上で、わしらは兄さんに相談を持ってきたんや。お互いにとって悪うない相談や。
相談。ほう。
Hole.
遺産分配時に今日まで親父の面倒を見てきてくれた兄貴のご苦労を最大限に汲み取り、分配に寛大な理解を示す。
That's very generous. They seem so sure that he's been doing something funny with the money that they're like, yeah, if you're clean, you get all this, but you're not
間違
clean.
えないでよ。別に私たちの権利を放棄するって言っただ。その権利を主張する際に兄さんの立場に立った寛大な理解があってもいいんじゃないかしらということなのよ。
This is not genuine generosity.
つまり、条件を飲んでくれたら、わしらは遺産分配時にお父さんの財務状況調査をクラウス兄さんに一任してもいいっちゅうこっちゃ。
When fathers... All of the siblings from Ava downward suspected that Krauss was trying to steal their father's wealth. So letting Krauss report the state of the wealth was extremely contradictory and a huge concession. Yeah, why? If, as they claimed, Krauss was actually embezzling money, Krauss would be able to hide that fact. So what is the game plan here? I don't understand what they're getting at. Like, why they would let Krauss do this. Besides which, it'd be impossible for him to control the distribution of the inheritance in a manner favorable to himself. Krauss, realizing this sounded too good to be true, couldn't help but feel suspicious. I feel suspicious. Like, what? He couldn't help but worry about what they'd ask for in exchange.
ほう。
Ooh, they might say, like, you can do that, but if the gold turns out to be real, give up your share in that since you don't believe in it. Maybe something like that.
私に長兄としての信頼を返してくれるというのか。
But
そ
why?
の見返りは何だね。
Yeah, what is the catch here?
同じ兄弟としての公平な権利さ。俺たちの兄貴は親父の財産をかすめ取るようなやつじゃない。だがしかし、兄貴に融資するパトロンも存在しない。
So it's the gold.
隣りゃ、つまりこうい
He
う
seems
ことなら
100% sure it's the
兄弟は
gold.
納得するわけさ。
兄さんは10トンの黄金を見つけ、そ
おー
れを担保に軍資金を作った。そう。
They just want him to come
お父
clean
様
about
が
it?
かつてそうしたようにね。
そういうことならお父さんの財務状況におかしな点は一切あらへん。クラウス兄さんはずっとお父さんの世話をしてきた高校息子や。そないな人を信用せんわけにはいかへん。
回りくどくて分かりづらいな。もっとはっきり具体的に言いたまえ。
Thank you, Krauss. That would be nice.
条件の一つ
Just
目。
come clean. Okay, here we go. First condition. Number
まず
one.
兄貴は親父の黄金を見つけていたことを認めること。
Okay.
ありもしない黄金を私が持っていると認める。
条件2。
they're just ignoring. They're like, second.
その黄金について兄弟の取り分を認めこれを支払うこと。
バカな。
So we're just ignoring the rest of the finances. They'd like their cut of the gold.
ありもしない
Guess it's so
200
much.
億の黄金について一人頭50億。合計150億を支払えというのか。
I mean, if the gold is real, why not? Yeah.
バカバカしい。
最後まで聞きなあれ。
All right. Hideyoshi's like, shut up.
できへん取引はするつもりないで。もちろん黄金の取り分についてもクラウス兄さんの今日までのご苦労を十分にねぎらって換算するつもり。
条件3。
Hmm.
黄金の分配は後宮本家当主跡継ぎの肩書きに 50%。 残りを兄弟の正当な取り分として分割。
The portion of the gold to the one bearing the title of successor to the Ushiromiya family head will be 50%. The remainder will be considered the fair share for the other three siblings
も
divided
ちろん
up.
クラウス兄さんもこれには含めるわよ。
200億のうち
Isn't
125億を兄貴に、25億をエヴァ姉さんに、25億を俺に、25億をローザに。
okay.
ありがたくて涙
I mean,
が
that's
出る
quite the
同じ
deal.
存在しない黄金のためにお前たちに75億支払えというのかね。
何よ。兄さんの取り分は私たちの5倍じゃない。
It is.
私なら踊り上がっちゃう好条件よ。
So is Krauss hiding the gold or not?
条件の4。
Ooh, there's a fourth.
分配金は親父の死亡時に遺産分配に含めて生産する。
Okay, so it becomes part of the
ただ
inheritance.
し、手付金として俺たちの取り分の 10% を即納してもらう。支払いは来年3月までだ。
どうやクラウス兄さん、お父さんの財産をめぐる信頼を回復する絶好のチャンスやないか。さすがに75億の大金はお父さんが亡くなってからやないと無理や。
And here I thought finding the gold was going to be something we'd have to do over the course of the visual novel, like as far as the riddle goes and everything. If Krauss already has the gold, that will be unexpected.
だが手付けの7億半はなんとかできんこともないんとちゃうか。
政界財界に友人が多いってのが自慢の兄貴ならなんとかできるだろう。
Hmm.
本当なら今すぐ75億を一括で払ってもらいたいところよ。でも兄さんの立場に配慮してとりあえず1割を納める誠意を見せてくれたら。
So Krauss has to deal with all the liquidating of the gold. Like, he needs to deal with turning the gold into cash that can be paid out to the siblings, assuming he has it.
残りの9割は
It's his responsibility to pay out the siblings with their share of the 2.5 billion yen.
ね、1割程度の誠意なら兄さんにだって示せるんじゃない？
親父殿の財政状況調査を私に一任する権利を7億5千万で売りつけようというのかね。上等じゃないか。お前たちも成長したものだ。
これらを兄さんが飲むなら、私たち兄弟はお父様の財産状況調査を
So he gets to hide everything regarding any funny business that might have gone on.
ただし、その調査結果は公弁の対象となる。
With Kinzo's gold. Or not Kinzo's gold, Kinzo's other finances.
当然よね。75億分、私たちの取り分が減るように調整されちゃったら悲しいもの。
原則的に文句は言わねえつもりだ。
So if I understand this right. Alright. Wait, I'm not sure if they're roundabout using the gold just as a way to try and get Krauss to pay up for what they believe are his wrongdoings. Are they quote unquoting with their fingers gold here, saying, "Oh yeah, there's gold. Give us 7.5 billion yen gold, split evenly between us, and then you can deal with grandfather's finances yourself. Hide all of your, seedy bullshit that you've been doing with his finances, if you pay up with this amount." Do they actually believe in the gold? Or are they just basically using the gold as like a, wink wink? Pay us up. We know you've been mismanaging Kinzo's money in a way that benefits you. And that will not come to light if you pay us this share of money.
兄貴が綺麗にやってくれたならそれでいい。よっぽど露骨なことをしなけりゃ、俺たちはことを荒立てるつもりなんかねえんだぜ。俺たちだって早く遺産が欲しい。いつまでもグダグダして取りっぱぐれたくねえんだ。
公弁された場合の再調査は誰がするのかね。
I don't think they're talking about the gold in like a literal way. Like, I mean, they were using it as a scapegoat to say like, "Oh yeah, there's gold, isn't there? Why don't you just give us this portion of the quote unquote gold, and then you can deal with father's money distribution yourself and hide all your crimes."
多分これが兄弟で合議する最初で最後の機会だもの。そんなことにはならないと信じてる。
ローザもたまには言うわね。
By this point, it's obvious that Krauss wasn't at all trusted as the oldest sibling, so there's no need to go into detail. The formerly tyrannical older brother had always abused his privileges and violated the other siblings' shares. It was in response to this that the other three, now adults, were finally teaming up and striking back for the first time.
申し訳ないが、条件5。
Oh.
この取り決めはお父さんの遺言状に優先する。
Take precedence over the will.
後になってこの取り決めが保護になるような遺言が出てきちゃかなわんちゅうこっちゃな。
Okay. Yeah, I was talking about that before. Like, what in the catch-up videos is what about the will?
入念じゃないか。
They're all deciding things as if he's not going to have a will, like the wealth is going to be up to them to distribute.
なら質問だが、仮に本当に黄金が見つかった場合、どうするのかね。
それに対する支払いを兄貴が済ませてる以上、俺たちは本当に黄金が出てこよう。
Really don't care if we ever see it.
俺たち
Okay,
の取り分は先払いってな感じになるわけだからね。
sure.
夢があっていいじゃない。この島をリゾート化するつもりなんでしょ。その工事の途中でひょっこり黄金が見つかるかもしれないじゃない。
Yeah? Eva let out a high-pitched laugh. Krauss watched but didn't even flinch.
条件に7をつけてもらおう。
Oh my god.
私以外の兄弟が黄金を発見した場合、
In the situation.
速やかに私に引き渡すこと。
Oh, interesting.
もちろん保証するわよ。
That's just if one of the siblings does. What if one of the children does? It was a play on words. Of course, the others, who were forcing Krauss to pay money for some non-existent gold, wouldn't save Krauss his portion if they actually found it. From the beginning, this deal had been nothing more than a threat directed at Krauss. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's not about the gold at all. It's just there was this legend about the gold. How about you give us this quote unquote portion of the gold, this non-existent gold, and you get to keep all your activities under wraps. Regardless of the actual facts, it was still extremely likely that Krauss was embezzling his father's assets. Right? It was kind of a gamble. Like, they're so sure that he's embezzling Kinzo's funds that he'll want to do this, and in doing so, will quote-unquote say the non-existent gold actually exists. Not that that's really the point of it, but when Kinzo faced death at last and had his inheritance distributed, some unpleasant facts would surely come to light that could easily become fatal to Krauss. The others had spotted this weak point and were threatening their brother under the veil of compromise, trying to wring a huge sum of money out of him. However, they had forgotten one thing. So yeah, Krauss is pretty much admitting fault to embezzling funds by agreeing to this deal. It's under the guise of some non-existent gold, but he's admitting his wrongdoings. He's saying, yeah, I'll pay you this money from the gold so that I can deal with Kinzo's funds after he dies, so that I can hide what I was doing. He wouldn't accept it if he had gotten that money from legitimate means. However, they had forgotten one thing. They'd forgotten that their brother's brain moved so swiftly, at least when it came to cunning and guile, that they'd been forced to band together to combat him. While Eva couldn't stop smiling, sure of her victory, Krauss let out a gloating laugh to show how relaxed he was. Oh man, what's going on?
とても良い話じゃないか。私もお前たちとの関係が疎遠になっていたことには非常に心を痛めていた。
He is trapped in a 3-on-1 situation right now, and if he's feeling relaxed, then he's got something up his sleeve, or he knows something.
喜んで話に乗らせてもらおうじゃないか。喜べローザ。
Yorokobe Rosa.
取引は成立だ。
Rosa's expression dimmed. It was never a good sign when her brother started talking like this. Eva also keenly picked up on this. The smug smile faded. That's why she was unable to wipe away a sense of unease, even though Krauss had obediently accepted the deal. Yeah, something's up his sleeve.
兄さんらしくもないわ。
それはひどいじゃないか。あるわけもないさ。お前たちと同じだ。
I don't know. just the same as all of you. I feel like everyone's got ulterior motives themselves. He seemed to emphasize just that one part. Yeah. Bunch of money hungry. Oh man. The color of Rudolph's face darkened. To him, it sounded as though Krauss was saying, I have a plan similar to yours. So Rudolph panicked. He rushed to bring this nearly resolved discussion to a conclusion.
ならいいんだ。じゃあ兄貴、ここにサインをもらえるか。今の話を書き出した俺たちの誓約書だ。
Well, they even have a contract.
人
That's
数
good.
分ある。同じ内容に全員がサインする。
Rudolph took 4 written contracts out of his breast pocket that had the details of their deal written on him.
クラウス兄さんの提案した条件7ももちろん今から追記するで。安心したってな。
兄貴、ペン使うか。
Rudolph took a fountain pen out of his breast pocket and offered it to Krauss. Krauss made it as if to accept it. But then, with a small laugh, he drew back his hand without taking it and spoke. Oh.
実は
Oh, he's gonna say no?
離婚するために1点だけ修正を提案したい。
Okay, let's hear it. Which point? As soon as Krauss said that single sentence, all of the siblings felt as though something ominous was creeping up their backs at the same time.
ダメよ。
Ooh, the smug is breaking.
もう決まった話よ。
You're losing your cool, Ava.
黙ってサインを。
エヴァ、何を焦っているんだね。
That's a good
もちろ
question.
んサインはする。お前たちに黄金の分け前、75億円分を約束する。親父殿の遺産分配の時、きれいさっぱり清算することも約束する。だが、1点だけどうしても譲歩してもらいたい部分があるのだよ。
Okay,
何の話だよ。
which
どの
one?
点が気に入らねえってんだ。
Is it the 10% show of faith? Is it the...
分け前の1割。
Yeah,
7億
okay.
5000万円を損納する点だよ。お前たちの指摘通り、私の財政状況は決して裕福。数々の先行投資によって未来に必ず回収できると。今のこの時点では火の車であることは認めなければならない。つまり今すぐに動かせる金は全くないということ。私は無能で詳細の嗅覚も鈍い。お前たちの言うところの弱り目の私には7億半も半年で動かせる力はないということだよ。
そんなはずはないでしょ。
Ava's not
いい
happy
加
about
減なこ
that.
とを言ってこの場をごまかす気。
遺産分配時に全て一括で清算する。1割を即納する条件を削除したまえ。それが私にサインさせるための唯一の条件だ。
So why... He's still under contract to play the whole
こ
thing.
の1割はな、あくまでもお兄さんの誠意を測る数字なんやで。本当なら取引の余地もない話や。そこを100歩譲った上で、とりあえず1割の誠意でこの場を丸く収めちゃるっちゅう大サービスなんやで。そう説明した上で、そこを断るっちゅうのは、互いの信頼関係にちょいと影を落とすんとちゃいますか？
Everyone's feeling so, like, nervous about this. I wonder what the big deal is behind him just not wanting to pay the 10%. Like, he's smiling and laughing about it like it's his trump card. But I don't know what he has up his sleeve. Hideyoshi had a humble expression on his face and was rubbing his hands together, but his eyes weren't calm at all. Krauss had already seen through to the shadow in the depths of those eyes.
お前たちは何を焦っているのか。
Yeah, they all got real nervous real fast.
何に怯え
Like they know their brother. They know he's trying to pull something.
どうぞ。私にだけは教えてくれんかね。他の兄弟たちには内緒でこっそりと。
別に私は。
feel like Rosa is just the sibling that's pushed around. Everyone like tries to manipulate her to be on their side and everything, just to use her.
俺たちは兄貴がサインするかしないかしか聞いてない。妙な勘繰りも交渉もなしだ。
ほう。私には交渉の余地もないと。立場が弱いのは私の方で、公平な関係ではないと、そう言いたいのかね。
I mean, yeah, this whole thing was a big old threat. So that's what they're assuming. Shivers began to crawl up Rodolph's back. He begins to feel himself getting overwhelmed by the height of his brother's completely insurmountable wall and the long shadow that it existed since they were children. He's got this, like, this presence that everyone's afraid of. As soon as he kept confident after the conditions were laid out, the people, whoever had the upper hand, just completely swapped. You know, everyone else was ganging up on him. Then he just starts laughing and stays comfortable. Like, he didn't do anything. He just stayed calm and added on this rather minor detail. And now everyone is freaking out. Like, he got the upper hand on them so fast without really doing much of anything. And I assume that's just because of what they know about him and them being, in general, rather wary and afraid of him their whole lives.
この取引は私にとっては弟や妹たちと長いことを失ってきた信頼を取り戻し、それは私にとって緊急に解決したかった心のしこりだ。それが今日解決できてとても嬉しいと思う。だがお前たちもこの取引を急ぎ締結することがとても嬉しいんじゃない。
I mean, yeah, everyone's getting all jittery. Krauss stared at each of his siblings. They avoided his gaze with animal-like instinct. Holy crap, he is such like he has just dominated the discussion. When they had him. They like had him at the start of this discussion. They were all over him and he was the one having to take everything, and now he is just dominating. Only Hideyoshi was slow in avoiding it, so he was caught by Krauss's gaze.
秀吉兄さん、あなたの会社は非常に好調子だそうじゃないです。トントン拍子で上場を果たし、業績も株価も右肩上がり。実にお羨ましいことです。
Okay.
うちの人の話は関係ないでしょ。
Oh my god, Ava, calm down. You've completely lost like your confidence and your cool.
だが、株主たちに対する還元を怠ったのが悪かった。そして上場した時に足回りを固めきらなかったのもまずかった。気づいた時にはたちの悪い連中に自社株をだいぶ買い集められていたらしいじゃないですか。
なんでそんな話知っとるんや。
Can I see that again? Solidify your base when it became stock listed. Before you realized it, some bad natured colleagues of yours. Oh, did they lose the majority share in their company through stocks?
秀吉さんと同じですよ。
Everyone's keeping tabs on each other.
そんな不思議があることはないじゃないですか。
Krauss grinned broadly. In contrast, Hideyoshi's face was rapidly turning pale. Hideyoshi's company was a restaurant chain management company that he'd started from nothing. Thanks to Hideyoshi's management efforts, the company had achieved success repeatedly, expanding its range, and a petition to make it a stock-listed company had recently succeeded. The greatest advantage of being in the stockholding system is that you can sell stock certificates and gain a large amount of financing. That amount tends to be far greater than the business's normal profits. So this is an extremely effective way to gather massive funds to expand a business even further. However, in exchange for financing the company, the stockholders gain certain rights. They're given rights that allow them to observe and guide the company they've invested in, leading to profits even greater than their original investment. This right is guaranteed to the stockholders, and they sometimes use it to dismiss ineffectual management. The right allows them to keep an eye on management and prevent the money they've invested in the company from going to waste. However, if they use it forcibly, they can eject the former management and take over the company. Oh, did this happen? After all, dismissing management and nominating new management are powers held by the general body of all shareholders. That power is determined by the majority decision of the stockholders, right? And people who hold more stock get to cast more votes, right? In other words, if some person or group holds a majority of the stock, they can freely chase out the old management and make the president anyone they'd like. If they want, it's also possible for them to make themselves president. Most companies take various defensive measures to stop malicious people from buying up their stock and threatening their position, like ensuring that lots of stock is bought by those close to them, such as company employees. However, Hideyoshi's company had only recently become stock listed, and he hadn't had time to strengthen those defensive measures. Or maybe Hideyoshi was so engrossed in the management of his company that he couldn't properly understand the dangers of being stock listed. It's hard to say whether he should be viewed as a kind-hearted manager immersed in the work of management, or a foolish manager who had his feet swept out from under him. Oh, in other words, there existed some people who wouldn't let him get away with that naivety unscathed. They began repeatedly buying up stock in Hideyoshi's company, rapidly gaining such strength that they couldn't be ignored. Then they sent anonymous documents to the shareholders in an attempt to gain control of a majority. The documents read, "The current management continues to make pointless investments and is ignoring the needs of the stockholders. Let us force the current management to retire, cut the current wasted investments, and let this company be born again as one that gives back more to the stockholders." It's very difficult to make the actual state of the company's management known. The fruits of Hideyoshi's sleepless nights and constant concern for his company were cruelly distorted, and he lost the trust of his stockholders. Thanks to these efforts, the group had almost collected a majority of the company's stock. At that point, even Hideyoshi noticed and started to buy back the stock, but the stockholders realized that the company was undergoing an acquisition maneuver, and each demanded a ridiculous price for the shares that Hideyoshi was trying to buy back. Oh my god. Isn't this, like, illegal? Like, well, no, okay, I guess that kind of price manipulation. I don't know enough about it. They continually tortured Hideyoshi, who had no leeway in the negotiation of price. One of the certainties of capitalism is that price will rise when two parties vie for the same thing. And one of the certainties of democracy is that the majority controls everything. So in the end, whoever manages to buy up the most stock wins. Put another way, whoever has the most money wins. Okay, so a lot going on here. Now, quick side note, I was wondering what the problem with Ava's family was going to be. With Krauss, if we go down the list, we have Krauss, who might be affected by the curse. You know, you've got Krauss's business failings, you've got Natsuhi's inability to have kids and her constant headaches, and you have Jessica's bronchi asthma issues. So already that Krauss's family has issues. If we skip over Ava, because I wasn't sure about her yet, you have Rudolph. Now, Rudolph did something apparently horrible to Battler's mother that Battler isn't going to get forgiven for. Battler's mother died. Kyra immediately stepped in and took Battler's mother's place very suspiciously in a weird way. And then finally you have Rosa, who, has an unknown husband that Kinzo's really not happy about. You have Maria, who is a strange child who's into the black magic and occult stuff. You have Rosa's looks kind of remind me of the witch a little bit for some reason. Again, more dumb theory crafting. So yeah, there were always weird things about each of the three families, except for Ava. I wasn't sure what was going on. I think we're getting a bit more into the meat of the issues that Ava's family is experiencing. Very interesting. Unless Hideyoshi could obtain a large sum of money at this critical time, he could easily lose all he had built so far. Therefore, more than anything else, he wanted a lot of money right now. He needs that 10%. He needs to buy back his stocks. He needs to make sure no one gets a majority share and kicks him out of his company. He couldn't wait for the division of Kinzo's inheritance, since no one knew when he would die. Yeah, Hideyoshi, as bad as it sounds, Hideyoshi and Ava need Kinzo to keel over, like, today. Was everyone having business and financial problems? Ooh, what's going on here? Never seen Kairi sprite look that way like that. It's a new sprite position. Oh, does Kairi not know about it? Is he hiding this? What'd she say? What's this all about? Ooh. Kairi immediately guessed the meaning behind the subtle expression on Rudolph's face. Her husband had gotten wrapped up in some kind of trouble without her knowledge and had been worrying over it alone. Uh-oh.
失った兄弟の絆だって買い戻せるようにな。アメリカは権利侵害などにはうるさい国だ。だが金さえあれば何でも和解できる。
Long live capitalism.
和解金は数百万ドルにも及びそうだとの噂もあるがね。
Oh boy. Which would make it, tens or hundreds of millions of yen. So, Rudolph's got trouble in America. Rudolph had been busy building a large amount of wealth with a certain type of niche industry. However, a niche is a niche. It definitely wasn't a business exposed to the light of day. An American corporate giant was trying to accuse Rudolph's company of violating their rights. For various reasons, it was thought that victory for Rudolph in this trial would be extremely unlikely, and he was being forced into an all-out surrender. But even so, there was a way for this to be resolved with money. If he could just pay that money, it might still be painful, but he'd be able to pick himself back up. But if he didn't pay, he'd lose everything. Therefore, more than anything else, he wanted a lot of money right now. Oh, that's funny. Are we going to go through this with Rosa too and get the same all caps message? Yo, Krauss. Oh my god, here we go to Krauss. Here we go to Rosa. Krauss is a monster. Jesus. He just turned everything about this conversation completely around. It's amazing. However. Oh. Oh. That's what everyone's saying. This is none of your business. None of your business. Ooh, she's screaming. Rosa uncharacteristically laid bare her emotions and yelled. After all, no one was supposed to know that. She doesn't want anyone to know it, let alone just Krauss. As Krauss watched, he let slip a muffled laugh. Damn, Krauss. Without exception, every one of them, more than anything else, wanted a lot of money right now. In other words, the situation had been reversed. Yes, it did. Holy shit. After all, the person the younger siblings were threatening was the only one who had no urgent need for a large sum of money. The other three, however, wanted a lot of money quickly, no matter the cost. In other words, the longer it took to establish this deal, the better position Krauss would be in. Whew. Krauss was extremely sly. He had known of their Achilles heel from the beginning. Even so, he had not been certain. Therefore, he had hidden his knowledge until the very end, striking back only after analyzing their attitudes. Yes, I'm sure as soon as he heard that 10%, quote unquote, in good faith, he like was laughing to himself like, oh, here it is. Here we go.
私もできることなら可愛い弟や妹たちの危機に金を工面してやりたいと思っているよ。
What a good big brother.
残念なことに持ち合わせがなくて7億半もの大金が工面できるスポンサーに心当たりがあるなら先にそちらを当たってもらいたいのだよ。
Krauss's elated words were so obviously detached from what he actually felt. The other siblings could do nothing more than listen, grinding their teeth. If they could think of a sponsor that convenient, they wouldn't have kept up this charade. They had entered this huge battle specifically because they had exhausted all other options.
もしお前たちがどうしてもこの兄を頼りたいというなら私の口利きでスポンサーを探してやってもよいのだがね。おっと私にはそんなものはいないと言って
Oh
そ
my
れでは
god.
どうにもならんね。
His fucking smile, man. Oh, wait. I didn't get to hear his laugh. His evil laugh. Krauss's low, gloating laugh began to fill the parlor. The younger siblings who had been driving the oldest brother into a corner until a moment ago could do nothing more than grimace and grind their teeth.
エヴァ
冗談じゃないわ。兄さんに借りなんか作れるもんですか。冗談じゃない。冗談じゃない。
Ooh. Somehow Krauss cornered everyone
クラウス兄
while
さん
he was
どう
on the
助け
lower
てくれる
hand.
の
Ross is considering it.
言ったではないか。私にできるのは他のスポンサーを探すだ。もちろん利息を融通してもらえるようには最大限交渉するがね。
Ooh. There, now I got my laugh.
ちくしょう足元見やがって。
あなた
She didn't even know this. She probably thought, like, why is this happening? I thought we had him on the ropes. Now suddenly my husband is like backed into a corner.
落ち着いてるぜ。俺は極めて冷静だぜ。
I mean, are you? I don't think anyone in this room other than Krauss is now. Kyrie grabbed her husband's hand. But that action made him feel even more pitiful, so Rudolph shook it off. Oh. Krauss laughed as though watching something highly amusing.
こんな時本当に親父殿の隠し黄金が見つかればいいんだ。
I mean, yeah. Let's go read that riddle, figure it out.
この場で切り分けてやれるのだが残念残念残念至極
I mean, we haven't signed the document yet, right?
非常に極めて実にどうしようもなく残念だ。
But of course, if we do, that 10% needs to be taken out. Drink. Oh, yes. Let's solve the goddamn riddle. Come on. Give it to me. I say that like I'm good at solving riddles. I'm not. But maybe if I write it down and think about it for like a good long time. Oh my god. This guy. Ooh. And scene. And scene. Oh my god. That was a very interesting scene. I like that a lot, actually. The turnaround was insane. That Krauss pulled on them. And we learned a lot about everyone and their situations. To learn that, you know, Ava and Hideyoshi and Rudolph and Kyrie and Rosa are all in such desperate positions. You know, last time we thought that Krauss was the one. In the previous scene, we thought Krauss was the one who, you know, was suffering the most financially, and resorting to stealing Kinzo's money for, which he still might be doing, but To learn that everyone else is in a much more dire situation than him. It's just crazy. Man. Okay, well, that's episode 3 for you. We did almost an hour here, so we will wrap it up. Thank you very much for watching. I had a great time. I hope you did too. And I will see you next time. Bye.